Go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of eJenn Solutions, the podcast series. Today, I have with me Kristin Andrea, who is a beauty insider and educator. And I'm really excited to bring her on the program because she has a lot of information to share for those of you who want to get into the beauty industry, are in the beauty industry, hairstylist, makeup, everything. This is the girl that you want to talk with. So, hello, Kristin. How are you?
Great. Hi, Jen. It's so good to be here.
Yes. And tell me a little bit more, because I know I said beauty insider and educator, but can you tell us in detail what that exactly means?
Yeah. So I'm a hairstylist. I've been doing hair for coming up on 22 years now. I've had my own salon for about 15 years now. For most of my career, I have been involved in education. So I've worked with major companies such as Toni & Guy and Privé, and have had hairstylists from all over the country come to our kind of workshops, week-long workshops, weekend workshops, fashion week workshops. And I've also traveled all around the country visiting salons and talking to them about education. So I primarily do cutting and styling education, and as well as business education. This is kind of something that I'm really delving deeper into now with the business education for hairdressers. And I've started recently, about not too long ago, less than a year ago, started a new course for hairdressers for business.
Which I was a part of. Thank you very much. It was really great to be in those sessions. So thank you.
Yeah,
Can you tell me a little bit about your background? Because I know we've spoke before and I got to know you a little bit better. And I'm wondering if you can just talk to us a little bit about how the beauty industry has changed, because you have done quite a bit. And I'm hoping you can tell a little bit of the stories of what you've done, as well as how you've seen things change. I know that's a long sentence there, but a long question.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, you know what? The beauty industry has changed a lot. So obviously 20 years ago when I started, there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, there was definitely no social media to kind of promote your business. And so I think that's one of the major shifts we've seen, that and also the way people consume retail.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of, I think, the two main factors. And so with all the social media and everything, I feel like clients now are becoming so much more educated because they have so much more resources, which is great. I'm going to say it's great. Yeah.
I was going to say that not a lot of people feel that way, but yes, for the consumer, it is a great option.
It is a great option. And, I personally like that people are more informed because in a way it can make my job easier, because now they at least know the questions to ask, even if they're doing the wrong thing, because they've gotten just so much information. I feel like that's one thing about this social media age, is that there's just so much information that I think people don't really know how to weed through it. And so us as the professionals, I think we can really help guide them through all that information as far as what's exactly right for their hair.
Right.
Yeah, so I think if we kind of think of it that way, we turn it into a benefit, as opposed to they're getting their information from somewhere else.
Right. I was thinking, when you were saying that, I was thinking, how many of us have tried to diagnose something through WebMD?
Right.
The same thing, right?
Right. And you come up with 15 different illnesses, and you're like, I must have all of these.
It must be the worst one. They always pick the worst one that I have to have.
Right. Right.
But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but it really is the same thing, right? Because you go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, well, all those symptoms don't really add up to that, but they do add up to this, right? So it's kind of, I think, yeah, I think a lot of us as hairstylists, or even as, makeup artists or brow specialists or beauty professionals, we are kind of diagnosing a specific kind of situation. Luckily most of them aren't life-threatening, so we're all good.
Hair is important, Kristin. It really is.
I mean, it's not brain surgery, but it's the way we present ourselves. So
right.
Yeah, it's a great industry to be in.
What has been some of the questions that a new client has come to you with that maybe you can tell they have been online? I mean, does it happen a lot? Because obviously you educate them. Um, does it happen a lot with new clients coming in?
Yes, yeah. Some of my favorite things actually, and this is like one of the reasons I think it's a great benefit, because I used to have to spend, as I think as hairdressers or as makeup artists or beauty professionals in any sense, we spend a lot of time kind of training our clients on like how to put curls in their hair or how to apply their eyeshadow, right? And so if they can get some of this information online, then like I said, like we can kind of direct them and guide them into like, yeah, that blow dryer with the comb attached to it, probably not your best bet. But, the curling iron that spins, maybe you like that,
Right.
And so, because they've just got so much information, it's our job to really kind of detail it for them. And so, I think I get a lot of clients coming in, especially for styling, which makes me really happy because clients that are more savvy about styling their hair makes my job so much easier because they make my work look pretty.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Well, but you're right, because you can kind of talk the same language at that point.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, speaking about, kind of how you've seen things change, is there any like one thing, because, in social media, let me go back. It has changed for hairdressers now that they have to be in social media, and really that is where they have to be branded. And as you know, storytelling and talking about their clients and everything else, that has probably been a really big impact and difference for them. Can you talk a little bit about that and the flow and what you suggest and what you've seen?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really great question. Thanks for asking that. So, uh, you know, I think a lot of what we've talked about so far have been kind of like how the beauty professional relates to the consumer, which is great. But this is, I think,
The
like
flip
you,
side, yeah.
yeah, the flip side of how the back end of the industry is kind of working. And, it used to be like when I first started, I built my entire clientele, no social media. I've rebuilt a full clientele in less than a year over 3 times. So, this is, I know how to
go. I'm going to stop you. Go back to that. So you did what now?
I built a full clientele without social media in
Okay.
under a year several times.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big statement to
Yeah,
make.
that's why I wanted everyone to hear that. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, and I did it using traditional methods, retail retention and referrals. Now, referrals is where I have seen the kind of biggest difference with social media. So before I talk about referrals, I do want to touch on that point that you said that now that hairdressers and beauty professionals have to kind of have a social media presence.
Okay.
I want to touch on this first because I feel like this is such an important point. I feel like even for me now, like having those skills of building a clientele, it really like it's getting to a point, and this is I think why we've been having so much fun talking together. It's getting to a point where even I see in my business, like if you don't have a social media presence, business will eventually die, right? So I mean, like that's.
But
how
it's nice to
people,
hear you say that, because usually if it's coming from me, people, but it will. It
yeah,
just you
it just
become
will.
irrelevant. You become irrelevant.
Yeah, well, because consumers now are so attracted to things online. They want that instant gratification. They want to like scroll through the pictures and see like what's going on, what's my hairdresser doing, or what's my makeup artist doing, what are the new things. And if you don't have those new things, they're going to look at someone else who does, right?
Yeah.
So
Or someone that's
yeah,
going to entertain them more.
right. And it's someone who's going to inspire them more, and someone
Right.
who's going to kind of give them more of that virtual feedback, which people
Right.
are craving these days.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I think like that's such a valid point. Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that. I didn't know that when people would hear that from you, they wouldn't. I would think that would be a really good valid statement.
No, I mean, it's not that, because I think it's so much change, and I think it's not comprehensible that that would actually happen. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
so, because it is still rather new, but I can tell you right now, businesses are starting to realize it. And that's kind of where I was coming from with that.
Yeah, and probably across the board, right? Like not just
Yeah.
the beauty industry.
It's not just one
Everywhere.
industry. No. Yeah.
Yeah. And and I've seen it too, in the industry, people who have been in the industry for a long time. And I mean, like, I'm of that generation where it was like I went through the phase of like, I don't really understand computers, and like, you know what I'm saying? And like people in the generation older than me were like, they like definitely don't get computers, so
Right.
even those people, need to have a social media presence, and it's extremely important. And that's why I find your service so valuable, because you can take someone who either doesn't already know how to whatever, and you can give them a social media presence, or you can take someone who has a ton of work and has a social media thing, and and accelerate them
And sharpen it up.
well. And I found that that's what you did for the students in my 6 Figures course.
Yeah. Yeah. We have fun. They're doing great.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. They're really excelling. I'm super proud of them.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a good segue into how we're talking about how referrals changed.
Yeah, exactly. And so do you feel that the storytelling relates to referrals? Or, yeah, okay. So talk about that then, how exactly that works.
100%, 100%. So part of what we talk about in the 6 Figures in Style course is how is branding, but how important what's termed social proof
Yeah.
is, right? And these
Right.
are things that their peers are relating to, and how are anyone who has peers around them that are relating to something and can verify that, that's social proof. Right.
Right.
And so the more kind of in-depth a story can get and really kind of give a full picture, I see a lot of, and I feel like all of us kind of see this when we look at like a hair page, for example. We'll see just like 1,000 pictures of balayage, right? And so this person
We talked about this, yes.
this person is telling a very specific story, right? So
Right.
the people that are going to go to that person are going to go to them specifically for balayage. And
For
I think
for that service.
right. So it's super niche, but it's also super specialized, which I think people are also looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as an artist, if you want to fill your day with just balayage, do that.
Right, right.
As an artist, if you have a fuller...
But if I can stop you for just a second, not only that, but even within that, what differentiates you from the other person that does the same thing? Because as you said, just have nothing but that hair and there's nothing else. Well, what makes you different from the other person that does the same thing? So
I think this is actually a really good question that we can explore, because I don't know, what do you think about this? I kind of think that at that point, if two people have like just 1,000 pictures of beautiful balayage, because balayage is a beautiful process.
Right.
And and if you're good at it, it's not hard to make it look good. I mean, you can't do it bad, but if you do it good, then it's not hard to take a good picture of it. So in my opinion, I kind of think the difference here, and Jen, tell me what you think about this, I kind of think the difference here might be marketing.
Well, yes, but also location, because as you know, hairstylists, location will make a difference. Marketing, I was going to go more towards storytelling. And the fact that why you over this person. And if you don't have that difference in there of what makes you different, like if I don't know you, and so I know you've worked in movies, I know you've done these things, I want to come and have a conversation with you, because that to me is cool. So yeah, you're going to do my hair, but you're going to tell me about what happened on sets and the little mishaps and fun things like that, right? Sure. And so that is that's kind of going to that storytelling again, where I want to choose you over the other person that has nothing but hair,
So yes, so yeah, I love that you brought that up because I think that most people as human beings are more well-rounded than
Right.
just 1,000 pictures of balayage.
That's exactly that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah, you hit it right on the nose, right? It's like the 1,000 picture balayage, great. We know that person can do that. We don't know
Right.
much else about that person.
Right.
There's
And at that point, if you want to win or get customers, it may come down for you to price. And that's not necessarily where you want to be either.
Definitely
Yeah.
right. Yeah. That's terrible. And actually, to that point, a lot of stuff has gone on in this industry where that kind of price comparison, like the best example I could give with this would be blow dries, right? So
Okay.
now we have all these blow dry bars and they're like $35 a blow dry when salons were like $50 a blow dry, right? And now that price, trying to beat the price spirals the industry down into lowballing itself. And this is a big passion of mine, is to
Right.
not, is to elevate the artistry and not to demean it by saying, oh, 45 minutes, $35. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's
It's a different market that they're working within. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some research on it. Well, I think that might be a whole nother episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
You have
yeah,
to come back.
I would love to come back.
It would
I
be
would
fun.
definitely come back. But I love what you're talking about, the storytelling,
Yeah.
because, even if it's just, and I know like we talked a lot about the videos, right?
Yes.
So even if it's just like quick videos of something like mixing color or like applying, an eyeliner or like part of a brow or something, or something kind of goofy behind the scenes, something that shows personality.
Right.
This is all part of that storytelling.
Right.
And a big part of, I think, what we talk about in the Six Figures course is really, and you talked about this too with the group, was really like how to kind of find your story, right? Like, who is it that you're presenting to this virtual world, and how does that connect with your ideal customer?
Right. And I think a lot of them, a lot of people I talk to, not just in general, are afraid to do that.
Yeah,
Are
it's
afraid to
scary.
put themselves out there, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's forever, right?
Well, that's true. But I think they're just afraid to talk about themselves for whatever reason that they have. Well, who am I? Or it's not that important. But it is. It really is. And I know, especially when you're dealing with people who are entrepreneurs and they make that step from being in a salon to being on their own, like that's an amazing accomplishment. And I don't think they realize that. Like to make that shift is very important. Do you agree?
I firmly agree with that. We address that a lot in the course, and part of it is, that kind of like, who am I thing,
Yeah.
or it's not so much like, am I worth it, but it's how do I kind of
Portray that.
like convey this specific story. And I think, I think the younger generation is really good at it because they'll almost just put anything up.
They too are good.
Yeah, but I think that's what the world's craving. The world's just craving that authenticity, right? And like, and the highs and the lows, and like, oh, I did this wrong, but I did this great, and, whatever it is. And it's it's almost like mini reality TV.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I never thought about that, but you're right. Because
Yeah.
everyone has their own reality show.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I think it's about like your ideal client is who relates to that.
Right.
Because we all kind of, travel in similar circles or,
Right.
Kind of things. And so, you're not probably going to go to someone who's like, I don't know, like a rave at their salon or something, you know what I'm saying?
No. That from glow
right?
sticks, that kind of thing, probably.
Probably not.
No.
But, but someone
Not that
will.
there's anything wrong with it, because there are a lot of people out there that would think that it was absolutely amazing.
There's a market for everything.
There is a market.
Yeah.
Everything is out there.
Yeah, and that's why I think, like to that point earlier, it's good for people to be okay to just be themselves
Yeah.
and to start to tell that story and that full kind of branding thing.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have any advice for, like, if you could give one specific thing for someone who is an independent hairstylist? What is one thing that they should take a look at in their business that might do it and give them some sort of change? Anything that you want to recommend or tell them to look at
Yes.
in particular?
I have 2 answers.
Okay, good, because I sprung you with that.
You did, and that was a great question. I have 2 answers for that. One is a business answer, and then one is the social media answer.
Okay.
So the first one, a business answer, is track your money. Track your income and track your expenses.
Yeah.
And just be really clear about it. This is the first thing that any business professional, any accountant, any tax person, anyone will tell you about your business. Track your money. Watch what comes in and watch what goes out. We spent a lot of time on this. Yeah, we spent a lot of time on this before. The second thing for social media, find your motivation. Like, why are you doing hair? What is the thing that drives you? And this, when you can really answer this question, this solidifies your story. And so everything you tell in your story will be on brand and on point.
Yeah. Like a mission statement. Have a mission statement. Would you say that would be the phrase to use?
Yeah. Mission statement. Salon ethos. And if you don't know what ethos is, look it up. It's such an amazing thing. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of going more towards ethos these days because it is a social kind of cultural vibe. And it's inclusive. A mission statement is very important though too. If you can solidify those 2 things and your long-term vision, so those 3 things, your long-term vision for your business, it guides your whole story, and you can take those things to a social media expert like Jen, and it will help you craft the story and craft the posts and craft the timeline and all the things.
Yeah. So a lot of times I like to tell people we're really a translator. We translate your in real life version or wishes or business, and we translate that over to the online world. So that's kind of how we work. But we can't do that if someone doesn't have a vision or, a message or a long-term plan. As you said, that part is actually great. Long-term plan, even for social media, you have to have that. Yeah. So that's great.
You have to have the direction. Yeah. And you know what? I love that you call it, we all need a translator. From the real world to the digital world, we need a translator.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me just share with everyone really quickly how they can find you and how they can reach out to you if they have questions on their business for hair. Hold on here. I'm trying to do 2 things at once and I'm not very good at it. So what I'm showing everyone, because for the people that are listening in on the podcast or the people that are, on video, because you can always come to my YouTube channel at eJenn Solutions and subscribe, and you can watch the video of this interview. But right now we're looking at Kristin's Instagram account, kristin.hair, which is where you can find her on Instagram, and that's KRISTIN.hair, HAIR. And you can see her Instagram account with beautiful pictures. And I didn't click on any of them. And I like that you're reposting. That's fun. And you can come and connect with her. She's very responsive. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say all the people that I reposted are, they're all social media influencers. So at least I knew one thing about that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So perfect. And then, or if you are more of a Facebook person, you can come over to Your Hair by Kristin. If you just put that in all as one word in Facebook, you will find her page. And again, you can reach out to message her phone number, her website, everything is there. And you work in the Beverly Hills area of California. We probably should have mentioned where you reside.
Yep.
And so you also have, you mentioned it a little bit about your program that you have for hairstylists, and it's, well, I want to let you talk about it. What is it, and how can they connect with you on that?
Yeah, so this is a course called 6 Figures in Style, and this is a course for hairdressers, but also for all beauty professionals, typically someone who is running their own business.
Right.
Um,
and can you define business?
Yeah, so business is literally anyone who is in a commission salon,
Perfect.
renting a chair in a salon, or a room in a salon if you're like an esthetician or something, or someone who has their own salon, or someone who has their own studio salon. So all these people are their own business, and the industry really is going more and more to that. Even in a commission-based salon, hairdressers and makeup artists and estheticians and all these people, they're becoming more and more responsible for having to get their own clientele.
Okay.
And they have more and more resources to do it now, especially with social media. So what I go through in this 6 Figures in Style course is we talk about how to run your business like a business. Most beauty professionals aren't trained in business. They're trained in making things pretty, right?
Right.
We're
very
artists.
Good point.
Yeah, right. I always hear, we're artists. We're not business people.
Right.
But these days you gotta be both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always tell this story about Picasso. Picasso was the first kind of painter in that time to be his own kind of manager. And he was the only one who saw profit in his lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah, most of those painters died before their paintings ever made any money.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Most artists in history, they made their money after they were dead. So, if you want to be an artist, you got to be a business professional too these days. You got to make a living.
I think it's starting to be that way in a lot of professions. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I agree. I actually really agree. I talk to a lot of people in a lot of different professions, photographers,
yes.
All kinds
of sales professionals. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And that kind of just base foundational business training of like how to make a business plan, and if you want to open your own business, how to go about doing it, and how to go about knowing when you're going to see a profit versus your investment, and these kinds of things. It gets kind of technical, but we guide you through, and everything's super simple, and like all the worksheets and everything are kind of like done for you. And we've got a really good group going. So I start this class typically every 6 months. So I did just start one, but I would love to get a waiting list. Yeah, we're going to be getting everything online by the end of the year. So it will be an online course. Right now it's both online and in person.
Right.
But soon everything will be just online.
Yeah, and it runs really, really well. She does a great job. Like I said earlier, have had the opportunity to speak to the students in the class. And so right now I'm displaying for video for listeners, Kristin's email address. So I'm just going to say it. I'm also going to put it in the link for the YouTube description, and then I also put it in the podcast description as well, so that you have that. We will take out some spaces, so make sure that you clear out all the spaces in some of the platforms, but it's info@realsalonhair.com, and that's REALSALONHAIR.com, info@realsalonhair.com, and that's how you can reach Kristin and get on that waiting list.
Yeah, thanks guys. And Jen, yeah, that's true. I loved having you on, and I mean, you're such a great addition to the program, and I really feel like, you and I've got a couple other kind of guest speakers that come on that are experts in their field, clearly experts in things that I'm not an expert in. And it really, I mean, like the things that you gave to this group, they got so much out of it and have been like taking off with their social media. So it's been amazing.
Oh, thank you. Actually, they were fun. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. And we went over in time, but that was okay because it was fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, thank you very much, Kristin. And for anyone else, please come over to YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, hit subscribe. We love subscribers. You'll never miss another episode. And also take a look at eJennSolutions.com. You can go to our blog where we always post different tips. Subscribe to our newsletter. I know there's a lot, but if you do subscribe to our newsletter, you get one monthly tip of an actionable something that you can do for your business in social media. Thank you very much, and we will talk again soon.